Hello everybody, thanks for joining us. Sunday football at Etihad Stadium this afternoon. Carlton against the West Coast Eagles. Chris Judd against his old team, and certainly Tim Watson. He's one man they've got to stop.
Well, they're going to have to stop him. In fact, Judd was down a little bit last week in terms of his disposal and his work, but they've got to find midfield, Carlton.
OK, one change for the West Coast Eagles. Mark Nikoski is back. They were grooming him as a forward. Interesting to see what role he gets today.
Yeah, you expect him to play between sort of half forward maybe and half back. That's where he really made a name for himself as a half back. But a reasonably settled side, the West Coast Eagles, and they've been good. In fact, they could have taken the Saints last week, but they just weren't able to finish, and that's been a feature of their play this year, their inability to take the most of their opportunities. Carlton's made 4 changes, Walker, McLean, Hadley, 2 midfielders to come in. You'd expect Walker probably to play across half-back.
Cox has gone forward at the other end of the game. They're just trying to stretch the Carlton defence.
Jacobs and Natanui to start proceedings. Natanui up very high, falls to Murphy. Murphy had it a long time.
Holding the ball, he took too long there, Mark. Had plenty
Free
of time.
kick to Prittis. So often the man who extracts it out of the middle. Long telling kick inside the forward 50. Cox is the target. Knocked away by Jamison. Natanui. She got down there quickly. Still going, Natanui. Left it behind. Walker takes it across the line. Boundary throw in.
First time he's played against the Blues.
3 of the Carlton defenders undersized. So long, high balls might be the order.
So Natanui, as I said, first time against the Blues for him. Simpson to Jacobs. He's certainly not Natanui Jacobs, but geez, last month's been good.
Yeah.
Very different play. There's Hadley. Gee, what a tough career. He won that premiership at Brisbane in 03 and then so many injuries with a knee. Broke his leg late last year. Trying to re-establish himself. Judd, well done. Sure. That was a terrific handball in traffic to Gibbs, to Walker. Good to have him back. And the mark taken by Schofield. Walker was over in Perth last week. He's been acting as a scout, been watching the opposition players in the last month when he's been on the sidelines with a collarbone. Swift retreating. Schofield again. Just with the Eagles with the footy in hand and decision-making, and their inability to hang on to it has been their downfall for a fair stretch now. Wilkes, wide. Wasn't a great kick. Lynch was set up a bit, and now Simpson can make them hurt.
He's been in terrific form. Simpson releases Walker, who does anything but. He runs inside the 50. Should kick a goal from here. Ah, yes. Neil Young said it best. Rust never sleeps. Back in the side today. Rushed back, really. And just missing there. No doubt he'll be better for the run. And a reprieve for the West Coast Eagles. So Hearn to bring it in. Not much movement. In fact, hardly any. Wilkes is the best target. And Wilkes will get it. No, well done by Cruiser. Knocked away. In trouble, Scott Selwood. Tapped away by Henderson. Wilkes trying to feed it back to Scott Selwood. Ball under Wilkes. Spills out now Betts. Bad week last week. Swift has got it. Taken down. McGinnity after a good shepherd by Waters. He blocked Judd, but the ball trickled out of bounds.
One of those young kids that John Worsfold spoke about pre-game. Selwood there on Judd.
Good luck.
Chris Judd, advantage!
So Judd taking advantage and running into an open goal and gets the first. Well, that's fitting, isn't it?
Well, there's only been 2 stoppages so far in this game, and half-back Judd was the player that actually got first possession. There you see the free kick. There's the arm locked together there with Selwood's free kick advantage. And we saw him have a couple of shots similar to that last weekend, and he wasn't able to nail them against Hawthorn. But he looks like he's in real hot form.
His second ever goal against the West Coast Eagles. Talking about no free kicks in the last 3 weeks. He was awarded one there. Advantage was paid. Selwood wrong side of him and inside him. And when he's gone, he's left. There's the bounce. Knocked down. Wide. Prittis has got the run of it. Swift. Prittis. McGinnity. Close to the boundary line. In fact, out of bounds on the full. Carlton get the free kick.
Already good pressure from Carlton all over the ground. Good tap then to Pritis. He plays, he's a left footer. They actually tap to his preferred side. They just weren't able to affect that clearance, but Pritis has been outstanding this year with the first possession from clearances.
And so Simpson's long ball in. Timmy had 5 kicks, Pritis, last week and 29 handballs in that defeat against the Saints.
I reckon he would be a much better player with better players around him, because he is so capable of being able to get that first possession, the clearance.
As you said, so good in heavy traffic. Murphy's kick inside. Schofield attacked it pretty well. Terrific tackle by Robinson.
They're on today, Carlton, aren't they?
Yep.
This is exactly what Hawthorn were doing to them in the early part of last weekend, but this is just great to see Robinson, so much energy in the way he plays.
Wonder how Dennis is sort of feeling now.
Gone back to bed.
I'll ask him. Cox, down to Rosa. It's only early, Den.
Yeah.
In the back half, kicks it wide, but Carlton do look sharp, and sort of those first impressions are normally good ones, aren't they?
Yeah, they look on. There's no doubt about that. And it's Hadley that's gone to Pritis too. So his job is to negate him, particularly around this scenario here, a stoppage.
Cox and Jacobs falls in front. Hadley got a hand pass out of there.
Bryce Gibbs on the full now, please, Tom, now.
Gibbs will get a free kick.
Good from Hadley, played inside Pritis.
Gibbs comes back. Cross half back. Thornton. We've got a whistle. Now there's a free kick
back here.
down the ground.
Straight in the back there, Mitch.
Against Carlton.
Against Robinson.
It's a free kick to West Coast where the ball was when the whistle went.
Gee.
Got to be quick to find that one. It was in a forward pocket at the other end of the ground.
That's a big penalty too.
So Lynch has got the free kick, has he? Quinton Lynch, the much maligned one. Interesting, only 4 West Coast Eagles have kicked more goals than Quinton Lynch. Peter Sumich, Philip Matera, Chris Lewis and Brett Heddy. That's pretty good company.
Well within his range here too, Dennis.
Why is he maligned, given that company? Yes, within his range, he kicks it a long way. Lynch. That's a heck of a kick. But a behind. A metre to the left.
Murphy short. Apparently pulled up very sore against the Hawks last week. Now Gibbs re-signed during the week. Beautiful kick on the left to Brown. First game for him for this year. Short kick, getting back onto it. Garlett read it well.
Watch out, please, Andrew. Thank you.
So Garlett gets it inside the 50. O'Halpin did pretty well. O'Halpin for the handball. McGinnity, Judd, no free kick. Selwood, that's Scott off the ground. Rosa and Simpson. Rosa went the bump. Did very well, Rosa. Got it to Waters, and then Waters down the line to Lynch. Lynch decides to go to Kennedy. It's a good kick. So this is a better build-up by West Coast. Kennedy, who was involved in that very famous trade with Judd, kicks the ball poorly inside the 50. McGinnity surely had to give it to Lacroix.
Gee, that was just too slow in reacting, wasn't he?
He was frozen in time, wasn't he?
Jordan Russell having a great season. In fact, it started late last year and has just continued on. Ball comes across the ground, taken by Robinson. Looks back towards the middle. Doesn't use Scotland, though. Decides eventually to come down the line. Schofield, please.
Gee.
Wow. Henderson, very dismissive. On the lead, O'Halpin. Schofield gets back, free kick to O'Halpin. Well, he was treated like a toothpick then, wasn't he?
His effort just wasn't nearly strong enough. Nowhere near strong enough. He was in the advantaged position. Here it is again, and just way too easy for Henderson to knock him off the line of the ball.
Wow. Famous name. Famous name in WA defensive circles too, Schofield. Ray Homer Schofield, full-back of the century. Last century from West Perth. I think Ray's down in Mandurah now, so if he's watching, what a great player he was. Wouldn't have been happy with that. Presume he's an Eagles supporter. O'Halpin runs to 50. That's a beautiful kick. Satanta right on the line. I think it's okay. Goal to Carlton.
Well, I reckon he's developing into a classy type forward, O'Halpin, and he still looks a little bit untoward at times, but his kicking efficiency's improved. I watched him during the warm-up. He was having kicks from around the 40 to 50 area, and he was slotting most of those through. So he's become their #1 target in the forward line this year, and he hasn't let them down. He had a quiet weekend last weekend.
Didn't have a kick against the Hawks last weekend. It's his first goal against the Eagles as his 4th match. So
Free kick. Yeah, mate. Pay out of zone for prohibited contact. Mark's there.
And heard the reason. So Cruiser gets a free kick out of the centre. So the Blues with the first couple of goals. Hearn, good mark, unopposed.
Play on.
Well, jeez. Cut off by Garlett. And then Carazzo wide, searching. McLean. Good kick, McLean. Henderson had a crack. And Robinson. Yep, it's a goal. And you were right, Tim. They are switched on. Not sure about the opposition, though.
Well, they're just showing too much speed. They were slowed down last week by Hawthorn, but at the early stage of this game, their ball movement has just been too swift for the Eagles. And we see Henderson flew for the mark, unable to go, but then it was Robinson that grabbed control of the ball. And Carlton, and it's an amazing stat, but Carlton are the #1 side in the competition for actually kicking goals from inside the 15 metres. So they actually do kick the ball deep, and they've had players that had the speed and the agility and the know-how to get to those crumbs and finish it off. I really like this bloke. There's some problems with the way he plays at times. He gets a little bit over-anxious, but he's aggressive. He brings a lot of energy to the game, and they just look so much better when he's in their team.
The margin is 18 points then. Cox was up, won it on the way down. Judd stripped of the football. Prittis, well done. Found his way through. Kicked forward there by Selwood. Down towards half forward. Strong by Anderson. Kicked forward though towards half forward by Waters. Here's an opportunity behind the pack for Russell. The combination worked very good. Cruiser slips a hand pass away. Walker back to Russell. Russell, the long kick out wide. Garlett. He's 52 metres out, Garlett. Too clever by half. Hard to get it down there. Hearn, the pass intended for O'Halpin. Hearn comes wide to Selwood. Wilkes out of the back pocket. Nanakoski plays on immediately. Ebert, the defensive side of the wing, gives it to Lacroix. Immediately after that last goal, the West Coast Eagle runner dashed out on the ground as Lynch spills the ball across the boundary. I think he was delivering some technical advice. If I could lip read, he said the game has started.
Yeah, they've been flat, haven't they? And the Blues have been on their toes. Cox wins the tap. Hadley to Brown to Gibbs. Confident kick by Gibbs to Russell.
He's been good, Hadley. Already 2 clearances. He's playing on Prittis, but he's just taking the space that Prittis wants to occupy, playing inside him, and he's been really good.
So Betts looking for McLean, but it's a poor kick, and Waters gets back. They missed Waters over the last couple of years. He's played not much footy. Had the big elbow dislocation. Nikoski.
Good kick.
Yeah, that is a good kick. And Kennedy on the lead.
You just wonder why no Carlton player occupied that space, because it was a dangerous space. It was the space that was open for the kick to go to, but it was just a wonderful kick, and a quick kick too. Outside 50, inside 50, and that's been a problem for them all year, the West Coast Eagles, finding those marking targets inside 50, although their last month has been a lot better than their first 5 weeks of the season.
It's been very accurate from set shots, Kennedy, so that puts the pressure on him. 17 goals, 3 so far this year. That stuttering run up, he struck it beautifully, so I reckon that's good. Judd got the first for Carlton. Kennedy gets the first for West Coast. It's a win-win, that one, wasn't it, in the end, Judd and Kennedy?
Well, the Blues would have loved to have had Bernardo get him back at some stage, but he's definitely an Eagle and he's staying there.
That's having your cake and eating it too.
That is true, but that is one of the more unusual approaches in terms of run-up. Richo's down there. I know he watched Kennedy's break. We'll get run-up. We'll get to him shortly. But he's becoming one of the elite marking forwards in the competition, Kendi.
Just looking at the centre bounce now, McLean and Hadley are in there. It's a new look centre bounce lineup than they've had in the last few weeks, just giving them even more rotation and more options. They look too strong in the middle, the Blues.
A couple of tougher guys to last week where they were found wanting. Murphy, tough but small, goes after the football. I think that's Swift under the pack. He'll get the free kick, or is it Rosa? It's Rosa alongside the centre circles. Too high was the call. He goes down towards half forward, turning around. Selwood takes the mark, plays on immediately, goes looking for the lead from McKinley, and that's almost a very good mark, not paid. Chain of hand passes bring it away. The small guys, McLean gave it to Murphy. Then Gibbs and kicked around the outer side by Scotland. Garlett dragged off it. Butler almost waiting to be tackled there. Drives it back towards half forward. In best position, strong mark Gibbs. His dad is star in the WAFL, of course. Ross Gibbs with West Perth and Leda Glenelg. Played the bulk of his football in South Australia. Terrific high mark, his dad. Short to Russell.
Gee, I'm enjoying your colour today, Dan. You're meandering us through some lovely history. It's good stuff. Here's Gibbs.
Talking to Perth people.
Oh, I know. Out wide. I remember Ross Gibbs well at Glenelg in South Australia.
Couldn't he take him hard?
He sure could. Just a little guy, wasn't he? But he could stand on a head.
Play on.
McLean. Oh, that's an awful kick, isn't it? To Hadley. Back to Murphy. Gang tackle McLean. So West Coast doing a little better here. Ebert. Back to Cruz, a little gift to Anderson. Oh, Nat knew he came from, well, he can come from nowhere. And then Cruz's kick, cut off, not marked though, by McCoskey. Butler.
They're out here.
Let's see if they can use it. McKinley, it's a shocking kick. Well, we talk a lot about missing targets for the Eagles. Now Gibbs. And that was cute. And he found Walker.
Walker was in terrific form before he injured that shoulder. Goes across the ground. Thornton's got it now. Anderson is running. His dad used to play for West Perth too, but I won't bore you with that.
No,
Anderson's
not
got
boring
it.
us. I'm
At right
enjoying
half
it.
back goes in short. Tumbling mark is taken there by Hadley. I think they started bandaging that right knee at about 9 this morning. He goes in short. Carazzo, Scotland, Robinson. High ball inside the forward 50, off hands. Capped in front, Ebert did brilliantly. Slipped a hand pass to Schofield. Schofield gets it across to Selwood. Selwood having a fine season comes to Waters. Beau Waters, forward of right half back. Kicks it down towards half forward. That's a nice kick. Prittis going back. Cruiser did brilliantly. Knocked it down to his own advantage. Gave it to Walker. Feeds it back to Thornton.
It was a slow kick, though. Kennedy had already led up the ground, and the kick should have gone to him first. They could have kept the ball moving had it gone to him.
So the Blues getting it out to that fat side. Jamison to Scotland. Normally a good kick, Scotland. He's found the skipper 50 metres away. Every time he goes through the footy, it's a mighty roar from the Blue fans, doesn't he?
He's working Selwood over. He's running hard up and down the ground.
Maybe a few Eagles fans still give him a cheer or two. It's Hadley.
Play on.
So Hadley kicks to half forward. Not good.
Gee.
Wilkes. Back to Rosa. Now Embley. This is where Embley's usually at his best with run and carry. Trying to size up the situation. It's a good kick, actually. Cox couldn't quite get a crack at it. Russell did really well. Undersized, but he kept his feet and stopped Cox. And now in the back half, it's Murphy with a long ball.
Betts takes the mark on the other side. Looks inside. There's Simpson. Just noticed Scott Selwood having trouble keeping up with Judd at the moment. That's a beautiful kick into the path of O'Halpin going back. And he's marked about 10 metres out. That's a strange matchup, Scott Selwood against Judd.
That is a magnificent kick, though, to his favoured side. And he has learned in the space of a week, O'Halpin. We saw him on 2 occasions last weekend. Players just getting a little bit willing there on 2 occasions last weekend when he was within 15 metres actually playing on O'Halpin, particularly one in the third quarter when Carlton had the run on too. On this occasion, just put the ball up in the air and said, no, I'm not going anywhere. I'm going back to have a shot for goal.
Seen him play some good footy this season, Satanta. Spring in his step, and he comes. Jabs it through. He's got his second. Carlton have got their fourth, and they've got a handy lead.
Well, it's the first time in about 2 or 3 minutes of football where either side has been able to find a target inside their 50 and move the ball with any cohesion whatsoever. This is just a beautiful kick from Simpson, who's an outstanding player. I thought he was one of their best players last weekend against the Hawks too. Really busy. He's only small in stature, but he's a really physical player. He gives them a lot of energy as well. But O'Halpin just holding the ball up then, learning from that mistake. I reckon he's probably been over the highlight package a couple of times from last weekend too.
So a couple to the Irishman. Not a touch between Naitanui and Cox. 9 for Cruiser and Jacobs in the early stages of this match.
And that's where they missed Glass too, the Eagles back line, their #1 defender.
Murphy Priddis, cut off by Betts. He's pretty sharp, Betts. Running away. Left foot down low. Bit too low for O'Halpin. Well played, though, by Carlton. Carlton brilliantly done. And then hooking back. Oh, nearly. Not quite. Exciting stuff. His ball handling at top pace is remarkable.
He's gone.
You called it, Tim. Well, tackles is a big part of Robinson's game, isn't it?
And it's a big part of modern-day football too, these forward tackles. Just watch this. 2 steps, gone. Bang. He's the wrong bloke to take on to, Mitch Robinson.
He's laid both the forward tackles that have been done in this match so far. Second to Judd in average tackles for the Blues this season.
It's such a barometer of whether a side's on or not, isn't it, the forwards tackling? We saw that on Friday night with Essendon against the Western Bulldogs.
Well, he had a good match last week coming back against the Hawks with a couple of goals. Is that coming back? Not quite, so he misses a couple like that, but he's up and going, is Mitch.
Don't know what Tom Swift was thinking of. Got the short pass and then just meandered off.
80 disposals, Carlton to West Coast Eagles 46, so they're monopolising the ball too, the Blues.
Nat Nui from behind, paid the mark. Big leap on his knees. There's Swift again. That's better. Accelerates. Has a bounce. Not that acceleration would have got him away necessarily before. That's a nice mark following a nice kick. Hands out in front. Dean Cox, 55 metres from goal. Now where's Kennedy?
Run, please, Dean.
Could go deep. Lynch.
There's the kick from Cox. High ball through the hands of Lynch. Coming away, Joseph. One bounce. Drives it towards the outer side wing. Carranzo just blocked his man short of the ball. Then went back to find it. And he's got running support. Brown. Carranzo. A little 1-2. Carranzo runs to the 50. Lines up. Has he got the accuracy? Not quite. So they've dodged a couple of bullets, the West Coast Eagles.
Here's the mark of Nick Naitanui, and that's something that will gladden the hearts of all these West Coast Eagles fans, part of his development. That's an area that he needs to get better at, Nick Naitanui. In particular, the uncontested ones too, just finding space around the ground, but that's just awareness and understanding of the game.
He's one of those guys, he probably needs to learn to find easy kicks, Tim, doesn't he?
Yeah, he can find all the hard ones. I mean, his percentage of contested possession is way above any other player in the competition.
Richo?
Yeah, the Eagles have gone with that tall forward line. At the moment, they're kicking it in long. They're not taking marks, and as soon as it hits ground level, there's just not enough pressure on. The Blues are just sweeping it down the other end of the ground too easily.
Priddis, that was well done to Swift. And back to Selwood. Couldn't get into the honour. McLean, terrific. That's what he's very good at. And then Robinson found Cruiser. And then an awkward ball coming in. Well done by Carrazzo, but couldn't quite get Henderson. So just a lot of pressure on the Eagles here. They're certainly not out of it, but they're 4 goals behind. And the pressure mounts. And every time he gets inside Carlton's 50, there are a few dangerous players there. Rosa, Cruiser's tackle, terrific. Back to Judd, and then Judd hooking back. Well, he's had a terrific start today, the champ. He's doing a bit of footy himself in the first quarter.
Well, 2 goals from a midfielder in the first quarter is great, a great performance. We saw that last night too with Montani kicking 5. You don't see midfielders kicking that many goals, but here's an easy one. He normally doesn't get the easy ones, Chris Judd. He normally gets the hard ones. He's normally the player inside the stoppage. This time he's on the outside of the stoppage. It bobbles out and just no pressure on him whatsoever.
So the Blues, very productive. Their last 7 entries inside that forward 50 have produced 4 goals, 3. Judd with 2 goals. Now Ebert alongside Judd. I think Selwood's been played out of his boots by Chris Judd. He seems very nervous when he gets the football. That was too high. Free kick to Hadley.
Free kick. Yeah.
Hadley plays on immediately. Murphy. Gee, this is looking ominous. McLean to half forward. What a beautiful kick. Brown dropped the mark. Picked up by Butler, arriving quickly. Robinson. And then he's on to Butler as the ball ricocheted back towards the West Coast Eagle. And the umpire decides to ball it up. So
he's very good around the ball, isn't he, Mitch Robinson? Then just getting a hand in. He's one of those players that has enormous appetite for the contest.
on what we've seen in the last couple of weeks, he's going to become a regular. Hard to imagine he'll go out of this side again this season. Over the ball, burrowing through his but then drags it back in. He needs to be careful here. That ball's still with him under there. He was lucky.
There are players that want to win the ball when they're close to the ball, and then there's players that really want to win the ball when they're close to the ball. He's in that category.
Selwood, let's play the footy, mate.
Well, he had created an impression before he played a game down at Princess Park, hadn't he, as a real character of the club. Imagine they'd have a lot of fun with him, I reckon.
There he is again.
In there with McLean, that'd be a good battle.
Holding the ball. Play
So,
on.
Eagles, now Selwood, Troy, kicks to Adam, I should say, kicks to centre wing. The Twins up in Brisbane, of course, out. Murphy back in to Simpson, to Russell. That was fancy footwork by Russell, terrific, to Thornton. And then Thornton with a long ball to a one-on-one. Henderson used his body cleverly enough. McKenzie going back with him. Henderson forcing forward. McKenzie had a fumble. Henderson's won a hard ball. Back to Judd. Well, he didn't quite get the purchase, and he's missed that one.
He had a lot more time then too than what he thought. That was a great battle, McKenzie and Henderson. Henderson winning out in the end. Bang.
Cop that.
That's
That would
got to be
hurt.
50.
Shepherd very slow to get up. He copped a knee.
That was a knee, wasn't it? Right in the back hip. Let's watch this again. Oh,
At 4 o'clock tomorrow morning, that will smart.
that's very close to a free kick down the field, I would have thought.
Not much flesh on that young man either, so straight through to the bone. Here's Butler. Embley. So the Eagles content now to just kick it around in their defensive area. Schofield, 34 plays 7. Just over 2.5 minutes remaining till quarter time. The West Coast Eagles very lackluster.
Blues going one-on-one here.
On the lead, Hearn. Carrazzo with him. Lurking behind was Betts. Hadley. Carrazzo. Close to the boundary line. Just setting it up to full forward. Henderson. Almost the one-hander. Goes again. McKenzie. Oh, happened. He wrong-footed a couple of them. And then Betts snaps and kicks it behind. He wrong-footed 4 feet. Satana.
Just watch this again.
He's got a few tricks, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Butler. Cox the target. Good job, Cruiser. Ebert kept his head down. Put Cox under a bit of pressure. Rose did the same with Selwood. And then a slow left footer. Lacroix worked under it by Russell. And then Walker. Again, he was able to keep his cool, Walker. Russell under the pump. Shepherd pushing forward. Brown coughed it up. McKinley, good hands. Well, it would have been better if it had been Lacroix to Priddis to Lacroix. It was the wrong way around, wasn't it?
Yep.
Unfortunately, it was Priddis having the kick. I mean that with all due respect. He's a mighty fine player, but kicking's not his strength. Walker down the line and out of bounds on the fall. So West Coast need a goal before quarter time. Need some energy. Cox to Embley, and then Embley off one step. McKinley, well done in a one-on-one.
Leads back. He's at left half forward. Kicks it towards the pocket. Lacroix has to get down. That was a terrific mark. Mark Lacroix is deep in the left full forward pocket. He's only played against Carlton once before. Kicked 6 goals on that occasion. 18 goals for this season, including 5 against North Melbourne in round 3. Goalless last week. This is not beyond him. One of the best kicks in the league. That's enough to damn him forever. In he comes. West Perth boys stick together. He saved my bacon. 13-35.
He's a quality forward, Lacroix. He was out of sorts last week. I've never seen him fumble and play the way that he did. He had a couple of opportunities, even late in that game against the Saints, and he just wasn't able to grab the ball cleanly. But if they can get the ball there quickly, and that's the point that they need to be able to produce this afternoon, they've got to get quick ball movement at this stage of the game. Carlton have really slowed them down, particularly coming off half-back.
Gee, the mark was nearly as good as the kick too. What a terrific bit of play. Chris Judd, during our telecast at half-times, had a wonderful start. So a real steady, a terrific kick from Lacroix after a very good mark. His acceleration to the ball. So I reckon West Coast would probably, the way they've played, they would take a 3.5 goal deficit at quarter time because they haven't deserved any more than that. Prittis maybe one late one here. McKinley starting to get up and running at the moment. Kicks to centre half forward, and the right bloke's got it.
It was a missed kick too.
Yeah, it was.
It came off the shin. That was a really good kick then by Prittis, just to lower his eyes, take the first option, but the next one inside your 50 has to be quick.
Richo, just his kicking action's fascinating, Kennedy, isn't it?
Yeah, it's unusual. He does stutter a lot. Normally you would say that's not ideal, but this guy's a dead-eye dick. He rarely misses, and the stutter that he has, it's effective. And as long as you do the same thing every time, and there you go.
Gee, well
he
called,
doesn't
Richo.
miss, Bruce.
Well called. He's kicked two. Lacroix's got one, and then suddenly we've got a game, haven't we? It's 5-5 to 3-1. What an interesting, revealing last minute.
The margin is 16 points. The Eagles back in business thanks to a couple of late goals, but the job's still decidedly in front of them. Two old mates go at it, Judd and Cox. It spills to Murphy. Carranzo feeds it forward. How did he get there? How did he get there, Tim? Judd runs down to the 50, kicks. It's a terrible kick. It wanders down towards the pocket. He's thinking to himself, how did it get there? Opportunity for McKenzie. Dragged down. Henderson's got it. It was a good tackle by Scotland. Spills wide. Taken by Embley. Went back into a pile of Blues. Hand pass from Brown to Scotland. He snaps. And again they miss. They've been wasteful.
I just wonder, with bringing McLean and also Hadley into the side for the Blues, whether or not they've said to Juddy, we actually want you to play a little bit more on the outside as opposed to playing on the inside. We know you're great at getting the ball, the grunt ball, but we're going to get greater advantage from you being on the outside of the contest because of your ability to break and run. And I reckon we've seen him run and break more this afternoon than I've seen in a long time from him.
Timmy spent a lot of the last month breaking tackles, hasn't he?
Yeah, and doing all the grunt work right inside the contest.
No, good point. Cox wide. So Cox starts in the centre square for this quarter, and Nat Nui starts on the bench. So they have set it up differently.
And the Blues have got two hard nuts. I mean, McLean is a real hard nut. He was averaging 5 clearances before he got injured. And Hadley works really well inside too. They don't give you great pace, but when you've got Murphy on the outside of the contest and also Judd, I mean, you've got great balance there.
They said that McLean's changed his diet too. They've got a little bit more weight off him, trying to get a little bit more speed into those legs.
There he is.
Did well to a real runner in Murphy, and then Murphy's kick to the pocket. Front spot O'Halpin, well done at the back. Wilkes back to Hearn. Hearn's handball okay to Prittis to Butler. Has to be quick. Robinson's onto him, and that pressure by Robinson causes maybe the bad kick. Oh, well. Murphy took a step in here, and then Kennedy runs in. It's a huge price you're paying.
Players must get really confused. If they actually watch a lot of footy over the weekend, you would be a little bit confused about whether or not you can or you can't here. I mean, technically that is a 50-metre penalty, but we see that time and time again, and it's not penalised.
Well, he's normally a good finisher, Murphy, both on the run and from set shots. And it shouldn't have too much trouble with this, but he's pushed it right. And just kept it right. And look, they've missed some chances, haven't they? The other end in the first quarter, and now a couple in this term.
Should be all over.
Glad it's not.
Hearn to bring it in.
I'd join you in bed. You were going back there. You were going back there half an hour ago.
Hang on. Do you want to have another crack at that?
I'm hoping it gets erased.
Cox has got it.
That would not be delicious.
Golly. Here's McGinnity out of defence. Comes towards the wing. McKinley, the big leap, lurking behind. Henderson misses the target intended for Simpson. Betts has got it. Betts sweeps a hand pass across towards the running Walker. A contradiction in terms. Henderson. Lie down, Tim. Taken high as Simpson. He'll get the free kick. Simpson at right half forward to take the free.
Acker was wondering what he was going to write in his next article.
Simpson's away. Goes short. The mark dropped by Betts, but he was being clung on to. McGinnity. And McGinnity's father was a very handy footballer too for East Perth. Kevin. Betts has got the ball.
You've got some stuff today, Dan.
I brought it all. Didn't think I'd need it though. I thought this game might be close. Still could be, but gee, there seems an imbalance just watching these two teams. If Carlton were kicking straight and Betts has hooked this one towards the behind post off hands and through for a minor score.
He's an inaccurate kick actually, Betts. He's good from a snap, but from a set shot I think he's kicking about 16-16. There's the tackle. Simpson going low. The Eagles play going right over the top of him.
Last 8 scoring shots for the Blues, 1 goal, 7. So made a huge difference. Waters got it to Rosa. Lynch did well there, kept the hand down, and then Kennedy doing the roving work off the ground. Oh, well done. That was on line. Walker read it best, of course, and then a lovely little kick coming out of the back half to Scotland. Gee, 1 goal makes a difference here. It's 5-8-3-1. The Blues with 1 goal, 7 in their last 8. Really should be 6 or 7 goals in front. Cox and Jacobs, boundary throw in. Good learning curve again for Jacobs today against one of the modern day greats in Cox.
And one of the most athletic followers, ruckman in the competition too, and Natanui would be the other.
So they tangle up, and Cox got that left hand. Pritis' handball back to Cox. Did well. Then Ebert, Embley, Garlett's was terrific. Waters has got the job on Gibbs to try and shut him down a little in the back half. Some fancy footwork from Scotland.
Got it from Walker. Goes to midfield. Robinson missed it. Wilkes didn't recover all that well. Shoveled out of there by Shepherd. Did nicely. McKinley, a clever kick to Waters. Now there's a chance with Lacroix on the move. And Lacroix's taken the mark. And you'd like him from here.
That's the kick they need to improve on the West Coast Eagles. They get plenty of possessions through the midfield. There's the lower kick, lowering the eyes, and then Waters' kick here. This is the one right on the money.
McKinley's been involved in a few of their scores. Clever kick that time. A missed kick earlier. Lacroix misses. Barely got it through for a behind.
He's 9 goals, 8 from set shots this year, which surprises me. I mean, you just feel like he's a 3 out of 4 every time, don't you?
Well, how do you rationalise that last kick against the goal in the first quarter?
Well, you gave him a different build-up.
Wow.
He's Russell. It's short, but that's a big miss, isn't it? Because that would have got them right back in the game on the scoreboard. Jamison.
I'm still not sure they've picked up the pace of the game, the West Coast Eagles. They seem to think they've got more time when they've got possession of the ball than what they actually have.
So keeps it towards the wing. Natanui should have held it, and this could hurt them. Garlett, a hard man to run down, still going. Well, he had a fumble and it didn't make any difference. And then on the left, a wobbly old floater. O'Halpin worked underneath. Betts, good job by young Shepherd. Gee, he kept his poise there, and then McGinnity's kick. Rosa had to go harder. Well, when I say harder, he had to attack the footy, but he did take the mark, so did well in the end. Back it comes, McGinnity. Can they find targets? Kennedy's an impressive player. That's a good mark.
Forward of centre wing, low trajectory kick. McKinley comes to the football. It's knocked away down there by Jamison outside the defensive 50. Simpson. Murphy now onto the loose ball. Tackled as he kicked. And the mark is held by Chris Judd. It was coming quickly. Needed to mark that one. Murphy's kick just a wild one due to the pressure. Betts slips a hand pass away to Murphy. Stops on the wing. Now just sets it up towards half forward. That's a great grab. Invariably he does that, O'Halpin. He stays on his feet. Just kept on going. Now the kick from Scotland. Searching kick down towards the pocket. That is not position A. Henderson is claimed. Wrestled to the ground by Schofield. Natanui is just picking pockets. And the umpire will ball it up.
That was a really skillful thing that O'Halpin did then. First to take the mark, but then to come back on his left foot and then kick the ball. Here it is. Great attack on the ball. Always on the move. That's what I like about him. And the other forwards up the ground must really like that too, the movement.
Pritis in heavy traffic to Natanui. And then McGinnity. Well, that was a good result in the end to Rosa. Rosa to centre wing. Thornton was quick off the mark against Kennedy. Good stuff though by Ebert. He's a courageous player. Lacroix Waters waited for it. Down to you, Richo.
Yeah, Andrew Walker, terrific return to footy today. He's had 12 touches already playing at half-back. He's really giving the Blues run and setting them up. The Eagles need to tighten up. They almost need to put a negative half forward on him for 10 or 15 minutes because he's out of control at the moment.
They got good speed too.
18 points up. Cruiser hung on to. No free kick. Down in front. Winding up. Almighty swing missed. Rosa.
Natanui against Cruiser, just locking that arm up. He needs some work on his marking too, doesn't he, Natanui?
Still a work in progress.
He is.
Cruiser deflects it down. Embley stood up in a tackle. Comes back to him. Hurried kick inside the 50. It'll run out of bounds. 52 metres from goal.
So I like the speed of this back line of Carlton's. Jamison's quick, Walker's quick, Russell's quick, Gibbs is quick. And they've got Scotland back there as well. All players capable of beating their direct opponent to the ball.
Cruiser does that against Natanui, then finds it on the ground. Embley, Hearn, hand passes towards the pocket. Well done by Scotland. He's having a stellar season. Carazzo heard the voice, went to Cruiser. Cruiser back to Scotland, ran into Waters. Now they're under pressure. Carazzo again. Scotland creates some space this time and goes back. Walker across the goal face. Jamison.
Got Thornton free here if they can move the ball quickly enough down the line.
Russell in short. They're going to keep it short to Brown. That was better of him to go by West Coast. So some defensive forward tackling pressure. Good mark. Murphy, what a fine player he is. Lots of the ball today. He's probably been down the last couple. He wasn't great in Adelaide.
He gets heavily tagged though, week in, week out, Bruce. He's got to work hard for his possessions.
Well, he was getting the Judd tag, wasn't he? So here's Robinson. He's going to go away. Well, it's a terrible kick in the end. He might get away with this. Jamison to Walker. And then Walker trying to hit a target. That's a poor kick too. Schofield probably should have taken the mark. Got down low. He's a bit lucky to get the free. He was in the...
Will Schofield.
He was in the down motion early. Now uses Selwood. And Selwood's kick. Good one.
That's a good kick.
Well, Waters decides to quickly play on, and Cox strolls in and laconically kicks a goal, and suddenly the scoreboard closes up.
You called it well, Bruce. The last couple of minutes have been really good for the West Coast Eagles. They stopped Carlton from being able to rebound from half-back. They locked them down. They forced them to change direction, and then they were able to push their defence up the ground too, and then get this scoring opportunity. But the last couple of times they've gone forward, they've actually been able to find that kick. That's the one that's been letting them down. That last kick from outside, they're attacking 50. Inside, they're attacking 50. Good play from the Eagles.
The big guy gets the goal. 5-8-4-2. In the last 25 minutes, Carlton won 7. West Coast Eagles 3-1. That's the story of the game. Natanui will do the rucking here. So the margin just 12 points now. Natanui goes up, wins it down decisively to Selwood. Finds his way through, hooks it towards half forward. Going back, Gibbs stayed on his feet again. Waters went to ground. The boundary line, though, was too close. And it will be thrown in.
I think Nikoski might be playing that role that Richo talked about before, that defensive forward on Walker. Now, we know that he did start his footy as a half-back, so he does know the defensive part of the game, Nikoski.
Jacobs wins that one. Swift steps aside for Selwood, who promptly slips over. Did he drag it in? I think he did. Free kick to Carlton.
Thanks, Adam. Straight up, please, Adam. Thank you.
Although Walker is free again now, so...
Well, they put Waters on Gibbs. That's one of the defensive forwards.
So McLean comes short. Walker decides to run through midfield, looking to half forward. Carlton needing a goal. O'Halpin came from behind, going back with wonderful courage was Butler. Overrunning the ball was Murphy. Still a chance for the Blues. In went Shepherd, gets a hand pass away. Lynch. The danger is past. Swift, though, took a while. Butler fumbles around just outside the 50, then legged Robinson. No free kick. With the side of the boot, McLean. Chance for Satanta. Oh, well done, McGinnity. Came across on the angle, thumped it out wide. Going back is Jacobs. Embley in his hip pocket. Embley, Jacobs bearing down. Embley kept it alive. McGinnity can't keep it in.
Well, we've seen some really good football from the Eagles in the last 5 minutes. Their forwards being able to apply defensive pressure, and then their backline holding up under extreme pressure.
Good stuff. Natanui probably just won it and then collected it. Half a kick out. Simpson to Scotland. Scotland, they found some space. McLean, I think he's gone. Advantage will be paid. Embley decides not to run and bounce. That's a good move because Lynch has got it. Now he's got to panic. He's got to load it up and give Waters a chance. This will be interesting. Gibbs held his ground. Waters down low. Kennedy had him there. Wasn't high, not paid. Waters again, searching. Shepherd just went the wrong way. Tried to get it back, Shepherd. Gibbs' handball, pretty good. McLean brought down. Waters has been important. Kennedy can't quite get a kick. Nikoski can't quite get a kick. Trying to crash through was Hearn. And Judd, yes, Judd comes out with it.
Scotland around the outer side. Hadley, well, the moment has passed, and now Carlton with a blue chip opportunity to score. He runs to 50. O'Halpin, well done there by Wilkes. O'Halpin slips a hand pass through, taken by Betts, and he snaps the goal. Schofield got a hand to it. It wasn't enough. How about that? A chance at one end, a goal at the other.
Well, that ball that Chris Judd won at half-back was so important. That's the one that came out of the contest, and then Scotland was free, and then further on Hadley had just come onto the ground, had run wide to the space, and then it was just a matter of taking care of the footy here. They had plenty of time. That knew he actually put a little bit of pressure. Great closing speed from him. And once again, O'Halpin just doing the right thing with the ball, getting it over to Eddie Betts, and he's a champ at kicking goals from inside 15, Eddie.
He kicked 5 against the Saints, Eddie, and hasn't kicked a goal in his last 2, so he'll be pleased with that. Against the flow almost, Carlton getting that goal. Judd really leading from the front as he so often does. Prittis so good in the clearances. He's the #1 in the comp. Shepherd had that smothered, so he's had a couple of chances, Shepherd, in the last minute. McGinnity, Selwood got a high one. Embley. Little kick wide, well played by Anderson. Lynch's hip and shoulder okay, and the handball's a beauty to Embley. Now Embley's got to find the target. It's a poor kick. It was a...
You know, the thing about that was poor from the West Coast Eagles because the 3 forwards were actually converging on the same area.
Yep.
And by doing that, they dragged their direct opponents into the space that they were trying to keep open.
Thornton took them, got the free, got it to McLean, who gets it to Gibbs.
Thank you. Thanks, Mark.
Gibbs coming up for his 13th possession. Short, Brock McLean. He's been a bit rusty today too. It's slow. Gibbs drives it across the ground. Anderson, that's a good mark under pressure. Now a man is free on the outer side wing. You can see him in the distance. Anderson can't get the space back off the man on the mark, but Thornton will use him now.
Rosa gutted the mark really well then.
Yep, very
He
good.
just slowed him down enough. Now that's given all the other players up the ground time to get to their direct opponent.
All about angles. Carazzo's got the ball hard against the boundary line. Kicks to half forward. Judd works in front through his fingertips. McKenzie wheels out of a tackle. McGinnity, an involuntary action. It came back to him. Betts comes in hard. So too does Judd. They'll have a ball up. Umpires hate this, right near the boundary line. McGinnity is a tough son of a gun.
Look at the contested possessions too in the first quarter. 39-27, 25-18 the West Coast Eagles way this quarter, so they've become more aggressive around the ball.
It's felt that way, hasn't it? Shepherd's kick after the Cox tap. Russell, good mark, and then quickly gets it on. Gibbs gets it from Thornton. Normally a lovely kick, Gibbs, that one. Asking a bit of Henderson. He got back quickly enough. Tackle by Swift was good. Hadley brought down by Selwood, and then McLean back to Murphy, back to Jamison. Jamison now opens a chance at the back. McKenzie front spot against the flow. McGinnity. Betts brings him down. Ball has to get out for McGinnity. Should let it out. Well, he'll get away with it. Sometimes you've just got to release it and get the free of your body. Anyway, no free kick. To drag it back in.
They have been paid for less this weekend, I've seen.
Yeah. So this bounce, dangerous situation for the West Coast Eagles. Cox, razor away, went to ground. Short one inside the centre square, bounces on for Lacroix, runs into a tackle, threw the boot at it. Gibbs, only as far as Joseph. Going in very solidly there was Swift. Hand pass comes across nicely from Gibbs to Joseph.
No
I think
advantage.
advantage was going to be paid. Then he
No, it's
decided
after
to
disposal.
call a jam off, as we used to say in
Aaron Joseph.
roller derby parlance.
Once again, though,
Kick
coming off
after
half-back, the West Coast Eagles unable to hit that first target. Lynch coming up the ground, and then the turnover, and now their defence is under pressure again.
It's pretty cutthroat in there. Razor Ray went down. There's the kick inside the forward 50. Embley from behind, two-fisted, gets it out of bounds.
It's the story of the West Coast Eagles, and it has been for the last couple of years, their ability to hit targets around the ground. Coming off half-back, they're the worst in the competition. And then that last one from forward of the attacking 50 inside the 50, they're ranked 14th in the competition. So at both ends of the ground, they're really struggling.
See, Selwood should be rewarded there.
Adam Selwood.
What a great tackle.
Down to you, Richo.
Thank you.
Yeah, well, Selwood's gone on to Juddy this quarter, and he's done a really good job. Judd's only had the 3 possessions. Most teams don't tag him now. It is working for the Eagles this quarter, though.
He's having a terrific year, is Selwood. Danger kick, but good mark in the end. McKenzie.
Play on.
He's a big unit, McKenzie. Nikoski.
Leader, Aaron. Thank you.
They're not zoning here. The Blues are going one-on-one with their direct opponent.
So Nikoski, normally a long kick, and he decides to use that strength. Lacroix was at the back. Lynch created the contest. Hearn has to get it forward. He couldn't. Anderson did well there. Got in his road. McLean probably was a ball for Gibbs. Back to Anderson. Anderson's kick a little bit sloppy, but Robinson's got a bit of time.
Runs on to the wayward kick. Releases Walker. Walker goes to half forward. Satanta, what a mark! Oh.
So Tanner, I've got it. The mark's here. No, we're on marking it, mate.
I say, what a mark.
Thank you.
Mark Wall would have been proud of that one, wouldn't he?
Don't give
Gee,
away.
low down to his right and just took it so beautifully.
Walker's been good too, up to 16 possessions, hard running off half-back, not enough pressure on him. The West Coast Eagles defenders, they actually sat back. They let their direct opponents go up the field, and they're just waiting for the ball to come back, but they just didn't guard the dangerous space.
Remember, Andrew Walker made his debut at Princes Park against the West Coast Eagles. Took a specky and had a wonderful game, just under 30 possessions. Probably still best remembered for that game, although he's played some good ones this season. So Tadero Halpin lining up at his third then. Steps to 50. Kick is on the way. It's a beauty. So Tata.
He's got to be close to the most improved player in the competition, doesn't he?
Just thinking then, Tim, I don't think he's going to go away. He's going to be around for a few years now. It's not going to be a one-season wonder, is it?
No, well, he's not. But what he does really well is he attacks the ball really hard. He's one of those forwards that loves to be in the contest. A terrific mark then, but his conversion now has become what you'd expect from one of the elite forwards. So in the past, there's been a real problem about the fact whether or not he's going to kick a goal when he gets those opportunities. Now he's nailing them.
Watching Nick Natanui today, you can see why he doesn't get a lot of uncontested possession or marks. Around the stoppages, he plays like a 180-centimetre player. He just hunts the ball. He never gets on the spread and gets himself any easy possessions, something he's going to have to bring into his game in the future.
And Richo, they've put him to full forward for the moment. So that good work from West Coast has been undone in the last few minutes, Carlton, with the last couple of goals, and they stretch this lead out again. Not sure how you can sort that out. It'll be a ball up. It's a bit of an advantage having tats when you're in close like that. You can work out who's who, can't you?
Yeah, Amy Winehouse would be handy. She'd make a good footballer.
I think she'd be tough enough, don't you?
I reckon.
So Cruiser to Judd to Scotland. It's a good player, Scotland. To Murphy. Bit of a wrestle going on with Judd and also Selwood. And then Cruiser on the left. Simpson underneath it. Shepherd with him. Garlett, still Garlett, the handball. Simpson probably should have left it for Hadley. It was on the wrong side for him. Back it comes, Prittis down low, all good stuff. Gets it to Ebert. Shepherd, well, he kept his cool. Butler, then Carazzo, then to Murphy. And now Judd hooking back to full forward. Front spot Robinson. Prittis searching for it. Cut off by Robinson. And then Shepherd. Brown getting onto it. Good contest. Garlett, Brown, Prittis. Is out in the full, is it? No, out of bounds. Oh, I'm tired.
Good stuff.
Gee, that was outstanding, though, wasn't it? The Blues forward pressure, just locking the ball in. The West Coast Eagles, they look like they'd escaped a couple of times, but again, a desperate lunge here or there, and they locked the ball down.
Judd has put 2 goals. His last kick fell short, as you saw. Rose has got the ball. They've got him. Down goes Hadley, trying to feed it out. Knocked out of there by Betts. Scotland, was he taken high? Falling to the ground. Ill-directed the hand pass. Clearing the zone towards the other side was Shepherd. First to get there will be Walker. Needed a Shepherd. Not the same bloke, and he got one. Then a terrible kick. Straight to the man who was standing on the 50, and that was Hearn. He finds Nat Nui. Now, Nick, you've got to kick this one. Doesn't like to kick too much.
That's right. Good boy.
Yeah, well played across the ground. Kennedy goes back and takes the mark. Kennedy with a man running on to the pocket. Now there's a chance for Rosa. Can loop it over the top. Lynch has got it. Lynch back towards the middle. Lacroix should kick it. Get some elevation. Goal umpire goes a long way, but he's got the goal.
I really liked what Nat Nui did then, because when he first got the ball, he was the only player, the only Eagle player at that part of the ground. He had to wait. He held on to the ball long enough. He waited for something to eventuate. And it was a really good decision that he made in the end, the right one too, to go out wide again. And then that was smart play from Lynch there, just to think his way through that. Just about the forward pressure from Carlton. They've already had 10 tackles inside their attacking 50, just 9 last weekend for the entire game against Hawthorn.
So 2 late goals for Lacroix. 1 in the first quarter, 1 in the second. He takes a rest along with Judd and Simpson. So intriguing match. 3 goals. You just feel like Carlton are way on top, but one more goal here, like they did in the first, would really get us going. Here's Murphy on the left foot to half forward. Butler building it away. He's just one of a half a dozen Eagles, or add Judd, make it 7, that played in that premiership in 06. Out there today.
See, that was a poor kick though from Selwood. Kennedy had plenty of space inside him, and the kick went over his head. That's the one that they just have to get better at.
Thornton released Murphy, who releases Carazzo, and Carazzo with a careful kick to half. Oh, it's free kick now against Scott Selwood.
Thank you.
The golden rule is if you take the mark, everything's sweet, but if you don't, you're gone.
Hands in the back.
Yeah.
For a start.
And I think it's just the end result that counts, Tim, whether you hold it or not.
That's right. The interpretation's changed a little bit over the last 2 years.
Well, we saw Paul Pleasure here on that Friday night match, didn't we?
Can you go back a bit further here, Robinson? Have a look at this.
He's off the long run, but this would hurt. It's kick 1-1, Robinson. He struck it, hadn't he? Oh, wow. Great kick.
Kicked 2 goals now. Mitch Robinson had 9 possessions. There's a free kick again, and that's right. You've got to mark those ones. If you're going to fly like that, you got to put the hands in the back. Then you've got to take the ball.
Pretty dumb footy for a defender, isn't it? Half back flank.
Yeah, look, I think he just got committed too early to the contest.
Not high percentage stuff.
If we're playing charades, the answer is the Dow Jones. He comes crashing down to Selwood. Didn't touch the footy. And the margin is suddenly out to 24 points. Robinson, geez, good player, Robinson. We liked him when we first saw him, and he hasn't gone away with his career, although it's been a little hilly at times.
That was a
Selwood.
Magnificent tap there from Nat Nui.
Selwood drives it inside the forward 50. Going back with courage, the Carlton player Anderson, and he tracks it to the boundary line.
Just watch this again. This is the centre bounce tap work here from Nick Natanui. Over the top of Cruiser, down to Selwood. No space there. That is just beautiful ruck work. Soft.
Cruiser and Natanui again got over the top, and then Ebert squeezing it out. Good stuff, Thornton there. Got rid of Kennedy under pressure. Walker just had to search. Almost ran it over. I don't think it would have mattered. Anderson, Gibbs, the 1-2 with Cruiser. They've been linked a lot in the past, haven't they? Those 2 number 1s. And Gibbs on the left.
Gee, that's a good kick.
Yeah, Betts was quickly onto it too.
That's the difference, isn't it? The skill level, the execution under pressure. Carlton can execute, and for the best part, despite their best efforts, the Eagles can't quite. In defence, Lynch trying to crash his way through. He's claimed in the opposite direction by Garlett, and that's holding the ball. What good work by the little speedster. Garlett just stood his ground. Lynch was bearing down, and he finishes up with the football. 45 seconds to half-time. 24 points the difference. Can they get a late goal? In the first term, the Eagles did. Jumping high was Brown, goes after the footy. Diving in is Robinson again, claimed by McGinnity. And that's Robinson's arm working overtime, but he did drag it in, says the umpire.
Play on.
Butler out of defence, but drives it towards the outer side. Up in front, Embley, and the ball spills across the boundary line. Clock stops at 14. Of course, the other side of the coin is, can the Eagles get a late goal and finish the term as they did the first? Important takeaway here. Selwood anxious to follow his man past the ruckman. Pritter so often first hand to the ball after any sort of clearance. Taken across the line is Kennedy. So we're down to 4 seconds. And almost impossible now for the West Coast Eagles to score. A long way from goal. Naitanui and Cruiser, they're oblivious to the clock. Naitanui tries to hook it behind. Wait for the siren. Half-time on Sunday footy. Start of the second half then. Naitanui up very high. An aggressive act. He thumps it down towards half forward. Swift. Not so swift on that occasion. Judd ran him down from behind. Murphy feeds it forward. Gibbs has been terrific. Hadley. Judd, look at that. Scotland burns them off. Runs to half forward. Bacon goal square. Needs a touch. Not forthcoming. Goal.
Well, that is just a classical bit of ball movement from one end of the ground to the other, just using the corridor, going the shortest way home. 5 players getting involved in that goal, and in the end, a good shepherd there by, was that Betts or it was Garlett, wasn't it, that kept
Garlett?
Yeah, it was a good bit of.
He punches above his weight, doesn't he?
He does. I sometimes wonder whether or not that's a free kick, though. I mean, if that was in a marking contest and a player clearly wasn't looking at the ball, just trying to take a player out of the contest, they'd be given a free kick.
Well, Richo talked about run-off half-back. That was a great illustration. And Matthew, interested that O'Halpin started on the interchange here and Cruiser at full forward.
Yeah, they've just gone with something different. Not sure why, just to give Matty Cruiser a look down there, but I'm not sure why they've done it, to be honest.
Plays a lot of game time, O'Halpin. There's Judd with a clearance and Betts on it. Well, this game could be blown apart in a minute or two of the first moments of the second half here.
That's pure speed there from Eddie Betts.
Boys, come on, hey, don't give one away here.
Judd just hacking forward. I don't think Judd ever hacks, does he? Does everything with a bit more class than that. But Betts, has he got it? I reckon it's a goal. Not touched.
We wonder what they'd do after Favola Carlton with their forward line. We know that O'Halpin's become their #1 player. 17% of their forward line thrusts go through him. But Eddie Betts is the second most used target when they go forward.
He's so quick off the marker.
He's good at getting clearance, separation between himself and his direct opponent. So obviously he just lights up the players' seam.
Selwood, the high ball. McKinley from behind, reaches over the top, takes the mark.
Quick on, quick on.
Not much coming towards him, though. Kennedy is leading back. He goes beyond that. Coming up the ground, Lacroix. Awkward bounce. Kennedy left the ball behind. It comes out to Russell. Russell goes looking for Anderson. Prittis did well. Under pressure. Waters the high kick just inside the boundary. Good mark taken by Simpson.
Prittis has worked really hard. 11 contested possessions of his 14.
Jamison was good in that pack too to get the ball out.
Move it on, Cade.
So Simpson out of the back pocket. High ball. It'll fall short of the wing. Working in front. Naitanui juggles the mark.
Gee, that's good to see. And contested mark by the young star. Kicks the ball to about 25 metres.
Oh, Mark Nikoski. Arm across his arms. You can't go up and put him for the mark, mate. Okay, just there. Thank you, Aaron.
See it there. So
the Blues coming into this game, they'd averaged 19 marks inside their 50, just 3 in the first half to the Eagles' 6.
So McCoskey hasn't kicked a goal this year. He hasn't played a lot of footy. Played in rounds 1, 2, 7 and 8, but he's a good field kicker, but a bit more pressure when you're sitting 30 metres straight in front. But he really should hammer it home, and he hasn't struck it well. Talked him out of it, eh? He was always a chance to miss.
Hard to take a mark too, Tim, when you're nursing a glass of beer. Showed a willingness to do it, that bloke in the crowd, though. Scotland went down. Judd again. Gee, he's getting industrious in this term. Hand pass missed the target. Hadley on a collision course with Lacroix, and between the pair of them, the ball spills away and out of bounds. A lot of respect between that pair.
Face the footy, Tom.
Cox in front. No, the ruckman left the ground. Murphy just wrenches it out of there. Brown, Murphy runs to centre half back. Long kick towards centre half forward. Wilkes got a hand to it, knocked it down. After it goes Betts. He's on his knees, tries to give it to Cruiser. Working in there is Butler. Butler stifles the hand pass attempt from Betts, and that ball is not coming out. McGinnity.
Just watching
Base of all of that.
Just watching Betts and Carlton too. They actually play high up on the ground, and then they come forward with that kick. They look so dangerous. Both of them almost got control of that ball then.
You'd have a nervous breakdown as a backman when the ball goes over the back as well, because they're so quick to get back onto it. Garlett pushing forward. Lacroix brought down by Judd. So Lacroix up the ground for the moment. Swift to Butler. Cut off by Murphy. Lacroix. Russell's little toe poke in the end. Here's Betts attacking. Gee, Swift was good. He should have got a free kick there. Into his back. McGinnity back to Swift. Didn't go the handball. Butler's hands were good. And then Nikoski. It's a terrible kick. He knows. Just try to be a bit too cute with it.
Gretzo's played a really interesting game today. We know that he's tagged plays in the past. He's actually tagging Hearn as a forward this afternoon.
Gee, that's a probing kick by Russell.
He uses the ball well, doesn't he? Offhand, it falls to Cruiser. Eagles everywhere. They're spread eagle. Diving in is Wilkes. At the base of all of that is McGinnity again. And the umpire calls for a ball up. Now, McGinnity, I think, initially was hurt and was lying on the ground, wasn't he? And then got involved. The pack came to him. So a bounce about 25 metres out from Carlton's attacking goal. And they've come out with a lot of energy in this term. Swift stripped of the football. Hadley a half chance. McGinnity again. Tackled by Judd this time. And the umpire will ball it up. So McGinnity certainly has shown a penchant for the hard ball this afternoon. There's Joseph getting some treatment off the ground. We've got a bounce about 35 metres out from goal, close to the boundary line. Cox directly down to Murphy. Murphy tackled from behind and in front.
Thank you.
And the umpire will do the business once more.
Just getting back onto Carazzo playing on Hearn. Hearn's had 6 possessions, so obviously in the identification or the lead up to this game, they identified that Hearn was one of their more dangerous players because he is the playmaker off half-back.
He can kick it, Tim Carney. Here's Selwood back to Scotland. Prittis probably a bit too forceful with the tackle. Rosa can't break the tackle. And then shoving it out, Robinson. Well done, Henderson, to win the ball down close. Wilkes. Selwood rode the tackle, then kicked, blazed away to centre wing. Jamison's body work good. Waters on the wrong side there. Always a chance for Gibbs. Happy to retreat. Back to Anderson. And then Anderson, back they go. They might be able to set up here. Thornton's normally a beautiful kick. And Russell ran off. And now they can probably set up. Russell decides to go the short option. Good hands there from Brown.
Walker started the second half on the bench. They're probably going to monitor his time in this second half too. He's missed a bit of footy.
So Brown, O'Halpin over the top was Henderson. Down to you, Richo.
Yeah, Joseph's come off and he's really struggling, limping around the boundary line at the moment. Looks like he's got a pretty bad corky in his right buttock and he's had it strapped, but he's in a bit of trouble at this stage.
Just in a holding pattern at the moment, this game, isn't it?
Boundary throw in. Cruiser works in front, directs it down. Murphy has been busy. Sends this one down towards full forward. McKenzie, head down, paddles it across towards Scott. Selwood tackled by Murphy, who kept on coming. Ball still in the field of play. Robinson burrows in underneath. Ball up. Certainly a lot of pressure on the Eagles' defence in the first half, and they were aided and abetted by the kicking of Carlton, which wasn't good. 8-8 to half-time. A lot of easy opportunities. McLean. He just kept on going when the others had stopped and almost kicked a goal.
Carlton still out possessing the West Coast Eagles. Murphy's been busy too. 4 possessions already in this third quarter. 2 of those contested and 2 clearances.
That's why they don't want Hearn to have the footy, Carlton. That was a beautiful kick from the point.
He kicks him like a dart.
And over some ground.
McCoskey missed the big chance that the Eagles have had in this term.
They should be able to do something here. They got him on the fat part of the ground.
So McCoskey's kick is going to find Ebert. It went to Swift. Not sure about that handball. Swift was in a very, very congested situation. He charges a bit Swift without thinking at times, but he's pretty young. Wide. Talked a bit about Carazzo's role today.
He's become such an important player to Carlton. He's improved his kicking out of sight.
He's the only player out there, along with Judd, that's won a best and fairest at the club, currently at the club. He won it, and then Judd came along and won the last couple.
Speak of the devil on the lead. Got it from Jamison. 64 plays 33. Right on the wing. City side of Etihad Stadium. Chris Judd takes something off the kick towards half forward. O'Halpin again stayed on his feet. 2 Eagles on the ground. The kick not so good. Betts a half chance, trying to find Robinson. In comes Rosa, kicks it back to midfield. Thornton in best position.
Gee, they're in trouble here too. They've got 2 West Coast Eagles defenders down at the moment.
Yep, Trainer's out to the Eagles on the far side. Well, I think one of them has got up. Yep. Meantime, Robinson, a little chip, and Brown's got the ball. So who is that in the hands of the trainers on the far side? Is it McGinnity?
Yep.
Here's the injury.
He is fearless, McGinnity.
Bang, straight into almost the rib cage there.
To McKenzie.
McKenzie, yeah, it must have been his head that collected there first.
McGinnity and McKenzie. Here's Brown. 35 metres out. Oh, another West Perth man knows how to kick them. Brown.
There's plenty of time for the West Coast Eagles defence to reorganise itself here, but they just allowed this space over the back. You watch this kick going forward here. Robinson on the end of it. This is the most important kick in footy. This last kick inside 50 to the bloke who's going to mark it and be able to have a shot for goal. The West Coast Eagles had actually zoned off. They weren't playing man on man, but there was just no one in that part of the ground guarding that space.
It's McGinnity, Patrick McGinnity. Had the jaw broken early last year, didn't he? And he's a tough player, but big margin in the match. 20 scoring shots to 8 probably reflects what we're seeing now. So let's see what West Coast can make of this. Well done by Nat Nui. It was a terrific tap down to Selwood. Ebert in heavy traffic.
Get in, drag it in.
Well, think about Nat Nui's touch work here again. He actually just hits the ball really softly as well to the right space. But as an Eagles midfielder, you can confidently go to those spaces that you want to attack through, because 9 out of 10 times he actually gets his hand there first again.
Carazzo, and then scooped it up. It's a free kick.
Shannon Hearn on the full now.
There's no pace in there, though, Tim, is there, in that centre square, really? They're just all one paces, the Eagles.
No, they haven't got the mix that they would like in there.
Hadley to Walker. Seen a lot of Walker off half-back. Gee, that's a bullet. And Betts was good enough to take the mark.
He's got great hands, Eddie Betts. That's a hard mark to take.
And he was at full pace, wasn't he? End stretched for his size. So back to Walker. Long ball in. Oh, Halpin, well done, Wilkes. That's a good contested mark.
Now they should be able to mount something here on the turnover.
Embley gone.
Oh.
Well, we'll give Garland a little mark for closing, but you've got to take something off the ball carrier there.
You've got to have awareness, though, don't you? I mean, you've got to have a quick look behind to see what might be coming. There were Eagles players around. But he's an experienced player, Andrew Embley.
Forward 50 tackles are 20-5.
And only 9 Carlton were able to hit last week, so that would have been an area of concentration this week.
So Garland, who kicked a couple of goals against the Eagles in his only other match, gets his first, and the game's getting to be a blowout now. 3 second-half goals all to the Blues.
Mitch Robinson, as you'd expect, right in the middle of all that. But you'd expect here the West Coast Eagles actually, as a turnover, it was a really good mark by Wilkes, that they would have been able to mount some sort of a counter-attack. They had plenty of time for Embley to find the space. He went to the first option. You see his eyes there and his head moved. He went out wide for the first option, which is the option he should have taken. And then he was about to just refocus his gaze back into the middle of the ground. But that's great play by Garland.
So a bit of niggle after the goal too, but then of course the West Coast Eagles realise that's not on anymore. It's a thing of the past. So how do you niggle the opposition these days? I've got a theory, Tim. Remind me. We might get back to that. In comes Robinson. That's how desperate we are. One of my theories. Murphy over the top. McLean in trouble. Slips a hand pass away. Robinson. They are queuing up. They are queuing up. He's hit the post.
He deserved a goal.
Now, what about the imbalance in possessions? Carlton up to 275. West Coast Eagles 186. It's almost 100 midway through the third term.
Robinson actually got that ball out of the centre in the first place and then worked down the ground as they possessed the ball to be on the end of it.
So Butler to himself drives it outside the defensive 50. That's a good mark. Whoa, McKenzie dropped it. Brown's got it. He got it from Murphy. Look at this. 2 men on the 50. Gibbs will kick it. Beautiful skills. The difference.
Tim, he reminded me so much of Goddard then. I mean, just the way he took the footy and kicked it.
He reminds me of 2 players. He reminds me a little bit of Nathan Buckley, the way that he is in control, but also Goddard, you're right. But once again, it was their spread around the contest and their speed. They've really been able to chop the West Coast Eagles up with their speed. I mean, we're talking about a massive gap. Dennis spoke about it a moment ago about the disposals gap as well.
Jacobs did well, and now here's Betts again. A handball to Cruiser, back to Scotland. Well, Scotland can score another goal from here, gets up and under. He just got squeezed up. He's played 133 of the 143 games that he's been at the Blues. He's been so durable. Gee, Jacobs did well then, and Betts roving it. So the kick out wide, Wilkes. And then Wilkes' slow ball.
They should be out here.
And Shepherd should get it to Swift, so a couple of the youngsters combine.
Swift at the interchange gates. And that imaginary conversation, Bruce, you were reporting on, I think Juddy might have said, I'm glad I'm not there.
But you can come to us.
They were the good times, yes. Butler's got it. Kicks inside the forward 50. Lecras in front. Takes the mark.
That was such a smart kick there by Butler.
Now, just breaking down these numbers, I've not seen this sort of differential, I don't think ever before, Tim. You keep an eye on them as the game rolls along.
The disposals now, nearly 100 difference between the 2 teams.
Not one player on the West Coast Eagles team has had 20 possessions. The highest there is 16 for Andrew Embley. So 100 means the other crowd have got 5 20 possession players that you haven't got, in effect. They're running around with 5 extras. We need a head count. In comes Lecras and kicks the goal. He's got 3.
And that's one area where they've actually shaded Carlton this afternoon. That's their marks inside 50, and an area that coming into this game you thought that Carlton was going to be so much better than the West Coast Eagles. But it really was the kick that forced the player to go to where he wanted the ball to go to, and that's where the space was. And I think it was it Cox coming out from the top of the square there who actually shielded his direct opponent, the defender, against making sure that he had an impact on Lecras.
Well, in round 10 last year, he kicked 6 goals. That was the only time he'd played against Carlton. He's got 3 so far today, Lecras. But they need a whole lot more. He's kicked half their goals so far. Kennedy's got a couple. But Carlton dominating this match everywhere now. Cruiser and Cox. Cox later down, well read by McLean, and then Embley gets hold of him.
High ball, no prior.
Down to you, Richo.
Well, besides the obvious midfield dominance today, which is outstanding for the Blues, just highlights the different forward line structures. Carlton's unpredictable. When the ball hits the ground, they've got dangerous players on the ground, whereas in the Eagles forward line, every player in their forward line is essentially a marking player. Even the smaller guys are still hit up forwards, so they really need to find some crumbing, tackling forwards for the future, the Eagles.
I mean, I for a Phil Material or somebody like that on that Eagle forward line, but they haven't got him. Garlett's been impressive. A bit of an up and under. Halpin comes in very late and gives a free kick away.
Waters.
There's always a metre too far back, Halpin, to really influence the contest. You can see him there.
Well, Waters should be influencing the contest because he's the free player now back across half-back. Gibbs is it for Carlton at the other end.
Gee, that was a terrible kick to McGinnity. And then Judd, that's clever. Beautiful kick inside. He might get it back from O'Halpin. He's running hard. No, Satanta comes back inboard to Simpson.
Hold!
Simpson, not big numbers for him today, but probably a slightly different role. He's got enough mates that have got the big numbers, as we've talked about. Decides to go to full forward. Henderson getting set, and then Butler belting it away. Butler's one of those 6 that played in the Premiership and 06 out there today for the Eagles.
I was just going to mention about O'Halpin's kicking, though, too. There's real confidence in his own kicking. We've seen him kick the ball diagonally on a number of occasions, left foot and right foot.
Round the other side, Selwood's kick bounces to Cruiser. Gets a hand pass off. McLean. Still going, McLean, after trying to give it back to Anderson. And the umpire decides to ball it up. Now, who's running with Judd at the moment? Going into the forward line moments ago, it was young Shepherd who was running with him.
I think it's still, it looks like Selwood's got him at this stoppage.
He has got him. After it goes Pritis again. How many times does he get his hands on the ball first at clearances? He's quite remarkable, actually. Here's Judd. Comes away. Gibbs feeds it back. Across half back. Thornton under pressure. Well done by Kennedy. Thornton fed it forward. Russell. So good with the ball in his hands. So too this man, Gibbs. Time to settle. High ball. Hearn will come from behind. Punches away from Simpson. Well done by Selwood. Back to Hearn. Now Cox has got it. Need to move it quickly. They need a mark on the forward line. McKinley.
That's a good kick.
McKinley is directly in front, 40 metres out, and Anderson just lost contact.
Here's the work by Judd here. Just scooping the ball out with his foot just to his favoured side, then allowing Gibbs to come onto the ball.
So Chris Judd had 10 possessions at half-time. He's now up to 17. Played twice for Carlton against the Eagles. 24 and 29 possessions in those 2 games. McKinley, meantime, has kicked a goal for the Eagles, or has he? Yes, he has.
Well, that was just the perfect kick again into their forward line from Lynch. We'll see Selwood just getting the ball over to Hearn, lowering his eyes. That's a really good kick. Now, this is the most important kick, this next one to the space. Just beautifully to the favoured side of McKinley, and all he had to do then was mark, and a simple mark, uncontested mark. His finishing last week was really off, McKinley. In fact, coming into this game, he's 33% chance of actually kicking from a set shot.
He's had some moments, McKinley. Kicked 4-4 last week. They're one-trick ponies, though, going forward, aren't they? They have to take a mark, or else not much happens. But look,
they just haven't had it inside their 50 often enough this afternoon.
So Lacroix 3, Kennedy 2, and 1 each to Cox and McKinley. Judd brilliant again, and now Simpson running hard, and then a deft little kick, though. It was a 50-50 contest, and Scott Selwood did pretty well. Back to his brother. Garlett robbed him brilliantly. He's working this footy, Garlett, and he's just run it out. But, gee, he's been a terrific contested player today.
Just going back to Pritis in the middle, again, at that last stoppage, he was the player that had his hands on the ball first. He's a #1 in the competition for being able to do that.
He'd be good at Carlton, wouldn't he?
Yeah, he would be.
Like Judd running outside him and Murphy. So Selwood, but perhaps Murphy and Judd would be good at West Coast. Play a bit of fantasy footy for me, Dan.
That's not my guy, you know that. I went bust in the first week, like my tipping. Today particularly. Here's Ebert, got it from Nikoski. Now McKinley's got it. Interesting, McKinley coming into this game. He'd played 40 games and booted 80 goals. That's pretty good territory. Disguises the kick and goes to Lynch.
He's got some smarts about him, McKinley, hasn't he?
Yeah. Goes across the ground as Lynch and finds Waters.
That was a great kick. That was a great kick. Cox was running really deep, and his movement then actually drew the Carlton defender to him, which created that whole vacuum of space that Lynch found himself in.
So Waters from 40 metres out, and this kick is off the side of the boot, through for a minor score. It's interesting because we're talking about Ben McKinley and his kicking last week, and certainly his kicking has really fallen away. When he arrived at the club in his first few league games, what distinguished him, and probably for the first season, was his accuracy. He was just terrific. But lately, he's really been struggling.
He's been better on the snap in recent times than he has from a set shot.
Kicked 42 goals back in 08, so that's a great return. As you say, his strike rate in terms of games and goals is impressive.
Yep.
I reckon West Coast got a few players like McKinley. You're just not sure how good they're going to be. I mean,
and together, for whatever reason, it doesn't work.
Here's Gibbs. He's about to equal his season high, Gibbs, of 31 disposals that he got against Collingwood.
Blues going one-on-one here, not setting up a zone. They've been like that all afternoon.
So Jacobs the target. Cox did well. Simpson's handball okay to Hadley. And then back it goes. Terrific return by Walker. That one cut off. That was good play by Rosa to put the pressure on. And now Butler, a bit undecided. Not a good option in the end. Waters had to get down and dirty. Swift did well, didn't panic. Waters, well, he just handballs to a bit of space, and then Betts brilliantly done to Robinson. Jacobs, a big guy, did well. Back to Robinson. Robinson got a bit of purchase, but always a bit ugly off the boot. And Schofield, who had a seniors moment in the first half, and he might have had another one. No, back it goes to Wilkes. I reckon you would move quicker than Schofield when you came into the broadcast box today, Dennis. Back to McKinley.
Speaking of senior moments, McKinley's got it on the outer side then. 32 seconds to go. That is a long kick towards full forward. Going back is Russell. Lacroix, boot to ball, gets it. He's got 4.
Well, they've had to sort of scrap and scrape for their goals, haven't they?
So that puts a back line under real pressure, though, a good deep kick like that. And Lacroix, we know that he's capable of pushing to the ball and marking, but he's also a really good scrounger too. He can actually make something out of nothing. He's kicked 4 goals this afternoon. He's been the best or the most dangerous of their forwards.
Had a terrific season last year. Just keeps kicking goals. So dying seconds of the third term. And Tim, we were talking about Niggle before. I just want to unveil my theory. It's a work in progress, but I think you'll like it because you're a lateral thinker. Off the ground by Selwood, taken by Simpson. Brown, back to Simpson. Tim, come back. he's leaving the box.
I'm waiting for you.
Gibbs goes across the ground. Well, you can't niggle anymore. I mean, West Coast are very annoyed with what's going on and obviously want to touch a little flesh, but you can't do that. So how about this? 3/4 time siren goes. You move to your huddle, oblivious to the scoreboard, although in this case it's not to flash, and just belt out the club song. That'll get under their guard. Opening bounce, Cox and Cruiser. Well done by Cox, and there he is again. Pritis drives it inside the forward 50. Big pack at the drop, reaching over the top from behind Thornton. Swift again, too slow. Taken down over the football. I think it's Gibbs in there. And that ball slow to release. We've got a whistle.
He's a mechanical player, isn't he, Swift? But he just doesn't sense when he has time and then when he doesn't have time. And he's still a young player. He's still a work in progress as a young player, but he's going to have to learn that part of his game.
Ironic name. One down by Cox, stolen away by Judd. 8 possessions in the third term. Stumbling, the hand pass not so good. Under pressure, McGinnity. He's pile driven. Geez, had a tough afternoon. He's like Wile E. Coyote. Hand pass comes across there from Simpson. Driving it forward is Garlett, about 20 metres out. Well done by McKenzie. That was clever, but only as far as Carrazzo lines up the goals. That was a terrible effort. Straight to McKenzie, who sends it to the back pocket. Chance for the Eagles, although it's dried up around the outer side. Not much on offer. Rosa, clever kick.
Yep, Kennedy presented himself. He had to come back inside, and he did it.
Move it on! Play on! Play on!
So Kennedy's careful kick, Leclerc.
Good play from Leclerc. Then too, he worked really hard out to the flank, and then he's come back. That's like a big V lead then.
And again, so well done here, the Eagles. This time with Ebert. And then Ebert off one step. Has he got it far enough? No, it wasn't a good kick. Gibbs courageously. Scotland, well, he's been fantastic. He's be hard to give the 3-2-1. They've had a few, but Gibbs obviously. But Scotland will be pushing up.
Oh.
Sloppy stuff here. Now, can McGinnity worry Jamieson out of it? Noel, he's got some return for it. Down to you, Richo.
Yeah, Dean Cox has come off the ground and he's gone straight to the back row. I think he got... Did he get trodden on there? But he's at the back row. He's grimacing a lot. He's not real happy at the moment, so just having a little spell, Dean.
I think I might have got a finger in the eye then.
So Beau Waters missed a shot from sort of this distance and angle late in the third quarter. Now, this would give the Eagles some heart, but he hasn't done it. No. And so another behind. So they've been accurate enough, the Eagles. They just haven't had enough opportunities forward. Look, Carlton will probably take it up there and get a goal, but you feel if the Eagles could get one here,
Yeah.
it's sort of in the match. They're making some running here. That's a good kick by Judd. And Cruiser, yeah.
That is a great kick, isn't it? Under pressure to kick the ball to your teammate's favoured side.
So Cruiser to half forward. Well done. And now Scotland roving it well. He's a good kick, Scotland. Murphy in a tangle there with Schofield. Murphy gets a second crack, and that's clever. Oh, that's a beauty. That's the difference. That was the crowd line.
Well, that is the difference. They took the ball from deep in their own back half, and then they were able to maintain possession all the way up the ground. It was a good crumb here from Scotland, just kicking to a one-on-one possession. Strong play there from Murphy, but just getting back so quick onto the ball, and he's been outstanding since half-time. He was a little bit quieter by his lofty standards in that first half, but he's been so busy since half-time. He's up to 29 now, and 11 of those possessions that he's gathered have been contested.
It's a fast-moving brain, isn't it?
Yeah.
Richo's still got him. He still moves quickly from nightclub to nightclub.
Gee, that's giving up a lot.
Hang on. Can I have a reply there, Tim?
No. I was mentioned in the same breath, actually. I was flattered they thought I was out till that hour. They had to identify Richo. It was a toss-up between the two. Tall was the key word. Judd, that's out of bounds. He took that out of bounds before he tried to kick it. Now he's hurt. Is he okay? Chris Judd, slow to get up. Meantime, it's in the opposite pocket. Socket off the ground by O'Halpin. Getting back on the 50 is Scotland. Scotland having a fine season. Well, that did him in. Knocked away by Rosa. Rosa over the football. Scotland reaches in and pulls it back on Rosa. This will be an interesting call. Who's going to get pinged? I think it'll be Rosa. Well, Tim, I want you to watch that again. That was a master stroke by Scotland.
Scotland's free.
It is the Scotland mitt. Watch for the tattoo.
Who dragged it in? Well, Rosa dragged it in, and then Scotland held it to him.
Oh, Tim.
I still reckon we've got this interpretation wrong. I think we should be penalising the bloke that actually holds the ball into the player who actually dived in on the ball in the first place.
Here's Scotland, who made his debut for Collingwood against the Eagles. Round 3 of 99. His first opponent, Andrew Williams, who later played for the Magpies. High ball from Brown. They'll compete about 15 metres out. Over the top, Wilkes got a fist on it. Judd is okay. Snaps, hits the post. He's got some debris up there near the high, fast twitch fibres.
It's a good kick, wasn't it? And so's that one. So Prittis out of the back half. Getting it from Scott Selwood. They work it through to Embley. Embley with a long kick to a contest, and that's a great mark by Joseph. Now Russell, good kick. Finding another bloke that normally uses the ball beautifully, Gibbs. He's weighted that perfectly. Judd tried a one-hander. Robinson blazes and misses. Down to you, Richo.
Yeah, Timmy, I agree with what you're saying about that rule where you dive on the ball. As a junior footballer, you're always taught to have your eyes on the ball and always go for the ball, and it almost encourages guys to not go for the ball, wait for someone else to go on top of it, and then just put the hand up and get the free kick. Disagree with it.
It's un-Australian, isn't it, to reward the bloke that sweats on the bloke that actually goes to the ball? Dennis?
Oh, everything.
No,
There's
we all agree.
a lot about the game that's un-Australian. Short one comes to Schofield.
Just because I didn't support you enough before three-quarter time.
It's a theory, as I said. We're still working on it. Lacroix and the West Coast Eagles work it forward, but hands in the back, and the free kick will go to Jacobs. That's a tricky one. Jacobs had some momentum up coming backwards, actually, and was almost bundling Cox off his feet. Cox trying to maintain his position, but nothing doing. Here's Russell to the opposite pocket. Simpson. I think Brown just through the interchange takes the mark. Now Gibbs. 30 possessions to three-quarter time. Goes down towards half forward. Henderson does well. Sweeps it along the boundary. Betts in reverse fell over. Rosa in the opposite direction. Embley was in there too to win it. Gave it to Waters. Sweeping hand pass to Prittis. Delays the hand pass. Swift under pressure. Hearn's got it now. Kicks it around the corner. Rosa, who'd peeled off, applies a strong tackle there on Murphy. Murphy, ample time though, went back to Walker, to Gibbs, to half forward. Carazzo, no, it's Garlett in behind the lead, offered by Robinson. Comes out wide, Henderson.
That little kick by Gibbs in makes it a career high for him of 38 disposals.
He's had a huge afternoon. Walker's been outstanding too. He's had 26, Walker. He's such an important player for Carlton, and the ability to run and to be able to play. He can play on those taller players as well, and that's what they like to do. They like to match him up on someone who's a little bit taller and just see whether or not he can expose them for pace.
Had a theory, the two W's, Waite and Walker together, firing, make a very good Carlton team. Henderson, well, he struck that home. It didn't look great off the boot, but it's a great result. Well done. Walker took the ball one-hand a moment ago. I mean, he's just so skillful.
I like Henderson. Henderson's had 12 disposals this afternoon, just two marks. He's only kicked the one goal. But to me, I think he's the type of player that Carlton need to continue to develop, and they have got our help. And if they can get this bloke as quickly as they can to 50 games, he hits the ball hard. He's a smart player, and I think he may be a difference for them come September.
It's a good competitor too now.
Yeah, Brock McLean came off the ground a little more than 5 minutes ago. Went straight down to the rooms with a left leg injury. Hasn't come back out yet, so there's definitely a little bit concern on Brock at the moment.
Margin 44 points. Cox goes after the footy, knocks it down. Swift, he's tried hard, like a lot of his teammates. It's almost ironic and a contradiction as Waters has run down from behind, that the Eagles, they work hard, they try hard, but it's just not there. Nikoski, slow to get up, and that's probably the most worrying thing, is the fact that they do have the work rate, but it's not smart footy and it's not skillful footy.
Geez, there's a real injury here too. Is that Nikoski?
Yep.
Looks like he's okay now. They've just taken his mouth guard out, but they were really concerned there when they first went to him, the trainers of Eagles. Here's the replay. Here's the incident. Here's Anderson about to tackle. It's jaw on jaw.
Despite the score, it's a dangerous place to be. Knocked down by Jacobs. McGinnity, he cops one too. And passed out of there by McKenzie, taken by Cox. Across to Butler. Butler goes out wide. In front is Lynch being held. He'll get the free kick.
Hasn't had a lot of the ball today, Lynch. That long kick into Kennedy. 1-on-2. Walker, the third man up.
What they've done really well, they've reorganised themselves time and time again. organise themselves time and time again, Carlton, to free up Gibbs or to free up Scotland or to free up Walker across half-back. It's been really smart.
Jacobs at the back. Well done, Gibbs. And now Simpson released onto the left. Long kick to about 60 metres. Robinson and Selwood. Then Wilkes to Butler. To Waters. Back to Wilkes. And now Rosa. And needs to hit the target. That's a good kick. Well done. And Kennedy did very well with a tight marker on him. He was able to get away from Thornton and take the mark. So we need more of this if you're an Eagles fan. Since Judd left, the Eagles have played 24 games away from Subiaco and won 2. And one of them was the last time they were away. So that's been so difficult, that unbelievable run-up. It is so strange. He has struck it magnificently. What a great kick. He and Lacroix are dead-eye dicks. That's his third. I mean, that is the weirdest foreplay you've ever seen, isn't it?
Yes. He's such an honest toiler too, isn't he, Kennedy? It's funny the way it's worked out. I mean, he was given up in the trade, and he is desperately the player they probably need.
Strange analogy. I shouldn't have said that, but it's just a weird run-up.
Where were you last night? All the kids will be doing this because it's proven to be accurate. It's sort of like the nervous pirate on the plank. Here he goes. Well, if I must.
Back to Priddis.
Cross to Selwood. Scott Selwood, who drives it down towards right half forward. Big leap at the back there from Walker. Close to the boundary line. McGinnity. Jamison kept it in. Terrific evasion. Russell. Walker. It's a clever kick. Controlled it well. Taken on the half volley by Carazzo. Bounces the ball across to Murphy. Murphy up to 33 possessions, but it's a wayward kick. McKenzie. Waters. I've got to say, Tim, and I don't mean to be patronising. Well, Wilkes goes on and applies a strong tackle. Henderson taken down. Waters feeds it forward. Scott Selwood goes back. Wilkes didn't mark it, but takes the kick from the same spot. McKenzie and now Butler. Don't mean to be patronising. I said it before. They try very hard, the Eagles. I mean,
I agree.
You know, there's no questioning their endeavour.
Yeah, I agree. But if you're having 100 less possessions than the opposition, your back line's going to be under enormous pressure too, isn't it?
Yeah. No, I just think there are so many problems in this team, but application isn't one of them. It's a relayed free and a chance for Lacroix to continue his wonderful record. Not that he hasn't done that to an extent today. 6 goals in 1 game against Carlton. Playing his 2nd game today, lining up for number 5. In he comes, and he's got it. Well done. Mark Lacroix.
Tim, and you look at Lacroix and Kennedy. If you said before the match they'll get 8 between them, you say, gee, that's a good result. That makes them competitive, and they've got 8 out of 10 though.
That's right, and they've only had 4 goal kickers this afternoon. That's been one of their problems. They don't have. Look, we talked about their midfield and the one-pace nature of their midfield, but in their forward line, they actually don't have enough smart goal-kicking type players either. And I reckon high on their list of priorities has to be a couple of smart, crumbing type forwards.
Well, 10 goal kickers for the Blues today and 4 for West Coast, and 8 between Kennedy and Lacroix.
I think the Blues coming into this game, they've had sort of 7 and 8 players averaging a goal a game. The Eagles only 4, so they're just not getting enough spread.
But Lacroix, as Dennis said, it's a great record against the Blues. 2 starts for 11 goals. You take that average against any team. You'd be kicking 100 a year.
That's speed. Just go and put him under so much pressure then.
Yeah, and Gibbs, who's having a career high in terms of disposal. Gee, Russell just got nervous there.
He did.
And then Priddis couldn't quite get it to McKinley. Judd couldn't quite fix up the mess. Walker trying, Natanui. A couple of number 2s together, eh? But they certainly play like number 1s. And now Lynch hooking back, and well done, Gibbs. Well done.
Judd might have caught one in the head here. Just bang one across the chops there. Stunned him for a second, but he got back up onto his feet pretty quickly.
Gibbs, possession number 43, gave it to McLean. Short one, Hadley. Robinson. I think we said on Friday night it was probably the most one-sided 9-point game we'd ever seen. That's a terrific mark. Terrific mark by the youngster Shepherd. Top 10 draft pick. Now that's Robinson on the ground, I think, holding his leg. It might be Scotland. It is. It's Scotland.
Stay there, Brock.
Meantime, on the outer side, this is Embley. Yeah, just talking about that game, the scoreboard really flattered the Bulldogs on Friday, and this might be the most one-sided 31-point game I think we've ever seen. Here's Waters again. It could be less than 31 points. Onto the chest of the leading player. Hand passes to Rosa, does Nikoski. And now it's with Cox. So hopefully he's okay.
Here's how it happened. There's Scotland. They're contesting the marking duel. It might just be a corky, I think. They're bang. I reckon it was the knee of Nikoski that got him on the thigh.
So Dean Cox should kick a goal. 25 metres out. No. Wow. Even the best.
Talking about where Carlton need to improve, you asked me that question before. They've got to smooth out the difference between winning and losing. At the moment, when they lose, their average scoring margin is 60. Sorry, when they win, 69 points. Losses 117. They're conceded. So it's that difference between their best and their worst still.
And I reckon we saw a bit of that against that Collingwood match that day when they actually played really well at times and they lost by 53 points, didn't they?
And that's sometimes, I mean, sides when they go in against Carlton, they still believe that their midfield doesn't work hard enough defensively. They can go hard and attack hard, but they just don't come back hard enough with you the other way.
Well, they've beaten St Kilda and Geelong this year, so that's a really big bonus for them. Be interesting to see where they're at come September. Oh, well played, Murphy. Clever by O'Halpin. He has been clever today. Carazzo to Walker. What a return for Walker. And then that little half kick to Betts, to Garland, and that's pretty. Gee, that's a good goal. And they are a pretty team when they're running like that. I tell you, if you went out to Princes Park and watched their drills on a Tuesday, gee, you'd like it, wouldn't you?
You'd enjoy training, wouldn't you?
Oh, yeah.
And again, you mentioned then O'Halpin. He was in that chain of possessions. He's done a lot of smart things today. I mean, that's been one of the knocks on him as a player. Like, he just isn't intelligent enough to our game. But I reckon that's changed, and the perception of him has changed with it too. He's really starting to do well with his possessions.
Gives another possession to Robinson.
He re-signed this week, Gibbs. I wonder if he should have waited 4 or 5 days.
Got in tonight.
It wouldn't have mattered.
Hang on, he's up for 50. We've got to get him to 50. We got, well, there's not time. This will be 45. The crowd getting restless. Carlton supporters against their own. Gee, they're hard to please.
I reckon his disposal rate, efficiency-wise, will be running at about 85% this afternoon, so he hasn't missed too many targets.
So Jamison's got it. Just over a minute to go. Beautiful pass, Brown. So Gibbs on 45. Where is he now?
Well, Gibbs has been running at 87% this afternoon, so 45 touches at 87%.
Well, he won't get his 50. 99 possessions between the two teams. This for the 100. There you go. Gibbs, this for 46. He's got the stumbles. They force him behind.
We give him that one?
Yeah.
Just a silly one on Thornton. Thornton had the footy there. This is his 156th game for Carlton, and it's his 50th win. So it just shows you how bad they were in those early days. I mean, a few years back, just 50 wins out of 156. I mean, the blokes that are playing now are on the positive side of the ledger, but it was a long time down the bottom for their team, and with these high draft picks, etc., and Judd coming to the club, they've built something, but it's taken a while. Jamison went down. Embley, well, that was a good choice. And Kennedy really should get his 4th goal for the afternoon.
It's not necessarily gilt edge when you start passing the ball around to run down the clock. I reckon it's 50-50 that the other team scores. Maybe sometimes it's your best chance of getting a score is let them have it for a while.
Well, with this unusual run-up, he's hardly missed this year. And the ex-Blue, who's taken as a high draft pick, finishes with 4 goals, and that matches exactly where he was in the draft when the Blues first got him. So, Gibbs, outstanding, couple of...
Number 4.
Yep. So 4 to Kennedy, 5 to LaCroix, but it was the Blues. By just 29 points, can you believe it?
No. I've seen many things, and I cannot believe that. Bryce Gibbs, 45 possessions, 105 to 76 on Sunday football.
They like to send us, we'll keep our ends up.